We're back, ladies and gentlemen, second hour of the National Intel Report on September 1, 2009. And if this is Tuesday and you're joining us in the second hour, where were you for the first one? I can't see any other program that would be more important, taking a sneak peek into what the Illuminists are doing to all of us, not only here in this country, but the entire world. Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster is with us. Mr. Robbie Noel, that has his own program called The Flip Side, that directly follows this one on Republic Broadcasting. And that's Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. Yep, they're saying that the gold is going to go up to $12.50 to $12.60 by December. Well, hang on to your hat, folks. I think it'll be there quicker than that.
Even Barclays Bank is calling for 1,033 gold. And central banks aren't selling gold. I mean, unheard of. They know what's going on.
Well, and why do you suppose that they're not selling and they're hanging on to it?
They figured out they rather have something of intrinsic value than worthless pieces of paper that someone may stab them in the back with.
Well, they're the stabbers and the stabbies. I mean, isn't that like, I don't know, isn't that like self-flagellation or whatever they call that stuff, or you just beat yourself? You're the problem. So I'm just going to beat myself. I'm in on the fiat money game. I mean, everything is turned on its head, isn't it?
No, there's an article today by Jeff Nichols, who believes that we've actually reached a turning point as far as gold is concerned, with central banks and sovereign wealth funds becoming very gold-friendly.
Really? Well, it's only been friendly as a medium of exchange for 50 centuries. Why should it change now? And as Bob, as you pointed out before, gold right now, realistically, adjusted for inflation, should be worth $2,200, $2,300 an ounce right now. So if we go up...
And those are official figures, John. I mean, the real figures are over $6,000.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
I mean, we've got a long way to go here, and all of you people who haven't been buying, and you think, well, we're going to get a dip, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. They listen to some of these morons who have been wrong month after month, year after year on gold, and don't get into the market. They're dumb. You got to get in there and buy now, because it's as cheap as it's ever going to get.
Well,
you look back and see, gee, you know, why didn't I hawk everything I had?
Yeah, why didn't you buy it at 500? Oh, when it went to 7, you were waiting for it to drop back to 5. Well, guess what? I think we'll be long dead in our grave before you ever see anything. I mean, if everything adjusted overnight, that we had the true wealth of everything, and, well, gosh, I couldn't afford to put gas in my car. I couldn't afford to buy gold or silver. But, again, folks, I want you to think of it in this term. Is it a way to make money, or is this going to be my insurance policy when the inflation starts hitting? And this is what has Bernanke scared to death. He doesn't talk about it in public. With all the money, the fiat money they've flooded the entire market with and the entire globe, that this is going to happen. It's not kind of, maybe, sort of. Maybe it won't be as bad as we think. It is going to be that bad and worse. So this is nothing but insurance. This is going to keep up with the rate of inflation, as they like to say, because the dollar is dead, and it will remain so until such time as we fire the Fed, pull their charter, institute an honest money system, and we get back to doing business on an even keel. It's as simple as that. I just solved the problem right there. We'll take the break here, 800-313-9443. We'll take your calls with your questions and your comments right after this.
Get ready for Real Talk Radio. You're listening to the National Intel Report with your host, John Stachmiller.
Last hour we were talking about Barney Frank, bill mandating complete audit of the Fed will pass House this fall. Chairman of the House Financial Services Committee told a Massachusetts audience at a recent town hall that the House will pass legislation this fall mandating a complete audit of the Fed Reserve. The bill to audit the Fed, H.R. 1207, was introduced by a libertarian Fed critic, Representative Ron Paul, Republican out of Texas, and is backed by well over the majority of the House. And Frank's his comment suggests it won't be left to languish in committee. He said, I want to restrict the power of the Fed in a number of ways. In a response to a question about the bill, they have had since 1932 the right to intervene in the economy almost whenever they wanted to, noting that the Fed relied on the extraordinary lending power to forward billions to financial institutions last fall. He intends to curtail that lending power. Finally, we will subject them to a complete audit. I have been working with Ron Paul, the main sponsor of that bill. He agrees that we don't want to have the audit appear as if it's influencing monetary policy because that would be inflationary. And Ron and I agree on that. Well,
let me ask you a question. If you're a felon, are you allowed to run for president of the United States?
As long as you were born in Zimbabwe or someplace, I think.
Well, I say let's nominate James Traficant. He gets out of jail tomorrow.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? I wonder if he's going to run for Congress again.
He should run for president. Never heard the guy give as many fiery speeches against the Federal Reserve as Ron Paul is good, but James did it with passion.
Well, yeah, he did.
Beam me up.
But if he's going to run for president, we have to do a redo. He's got to get rid of that bad rug. Oops.
I think he got rid of it.
Okay.
7 years ago.
7 years ago. Yes, he did. His mug shots, I saw his mug shots when he was in prison, and it was without the rug. John in Florida. Hello, John.
Hello. My question, Robbie, do we start calling you Mr. Noel since you just had a birthday?
So how old are we?
All depends on his age.
Yeah, how old are we now, Robbie?
I gave up counting when I turned 56 years
Oh,
ago.
come on.
Hey.
Vanity knows no bounds.
Well, that's, the wet blanket and everything. Well, hey, Bob, you've never been shy about your age. I haven't been about mine. Age is good.
Did you ever go to Neverland? And I was hoping that John was going to play that song "I'll Be There" for Friday when you weren't there.
Yeah,
I've actually driven past Neverland.
By the way, I want to thank Dr. Bill Veith for filling in for Robbie.
Yes.
When I found that out on the program, I was doing my own show last Friday, and I said, geez, taking off for a birthday. I don't know any other talk show host on this network that takes a birthday off. It must have been, what was it? It was your AARP day, your 62nd? Or?
No, I had to get out of the valley. Too much heat.
I see.
Well, Mr. Noel, you can thank me because I'm the one that let John know.
Thank you, John.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Appreciate it. Guy in Arkansas. Hello, Guy. Hello, Guy.
Yes, you guys clicked on me a little late there. Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen. Got a question for Robbie, either or Bob. A combination of both would be nice. They're predicting 1,000 banks to fail within X number of years. My kind of question is, okay, if not give out around this number you can, out of all the banks in America, how many banks are there actually versus the 1,000 that's going to collapse? And I talked to I come from a small town, give or take 2,000 at any one time. And I've asked my local banker here, how they're set with this. And they say, well, we're set really good because none of that's going to affect us because, small towns tend to have a better collateral system rather than the big city banks where the more predominant credit is loan. So my question basically is how do you see the small town banks weathering this storm versus the 1,000 that are going to collapse? And I'll take my answer, your comments off the air, and thanks a lot.
Thank you, Guy.
I don't know, Bob could correct me on this number. I think there are 8,300 banks in America. Around that number?
I think there's 8,420, but you're close enough.
Close enough.
And as far as small town banks, it's one by one. You got to know what they've been doing. And, you can stay out of the derivative mess, out of the collateralized debt obligation mess, and you could have made local loans, even though you had good collateral, that went sour because of the economy. So,
Well,
who knows?
Yeah, well, here's the problem, Bob. Even the small town banks have bought into the theory that, well, we can take a $100 deposit and we can loan $900 against that. So, real value and real wealth, if somebody shows up, say a quarter of the town banks at this small bank, and they said, well, the Fed's acting kind of funny and you guys are still dealing with the Fed Reserve dollar.